I've seen better games of football than that. I've seen better England games than that. I think it was 5-0. I mean, let's be fair, they were rank awful opposition, but we can only deal with what was put ahead of us, I guess. But I felt like we should have beaten them 10-0. Calvert-Lewin at the start of the game, in the first half, he should have had about 4 or 5 goals, shouldn't he? Let's be absolutely fair. We have to measure the team in terms of the opposition that they faced. And as I say, they were absolutely bloody awful. But Jesse Lingard started, and then this is the West Ham interest in the story. I do want to talk about a few of the others later on. I particularly want to talk about Jude Bellingham and Phil Foden, actually. But on to Jesse Lingard. Absolutely thrilled for him. It has to be said. In terms of him joining West Ham, it was job done, really, wasn't it? He joined West Ham, get into that squad, you know, put his hand up and say, Mr. Southgate, I'm still here. And I've no doubt that if he continues with the form that he's already shown for West Ham in the second half of the season, you know, in the last part of the season, then he's going to really put himself forward to be involved in Southgate's plans. It's going to be a really tight final cut for that last 23, though, that's for sure. But we know he's trusted by Southgate, and I thought he played really, really well. It'll be disappointing he didn't get a goal. He was in the mix, he was taking a lot of shots. We know that's why we love him at West Ham. He takes a lot of shots. He's always going to score goals. Got an assist, as I say. Probably, look, one or two shots he will have been disappointed that he didn't do a little bit better with, but you know what? He's pass and move. He's touch and go. Is that shampoo? Oh no, it's not. It's wash and go, isn't it? He's pass and move. All that stuff. He's really good. Moves into space. I'm desperate to make this signing permanent. I think his biggest problem is going to be just the amount of talent that England have, and you think even Jadon Sancho, I don't think is even involved in this squad. I was looking at it and thinking, someone like Dele Alli, for instance, boy, he has made his run quite late, hasn't he? I think almost too late. It's going to be really difficult for him to get in. And then you have people like Ross Barkley, who, of course, was a bit of a favourite. Southgate was happy to use Barkley for a while. You just can't see him getting back in now, can you? Clearly, he likes Mason Mount as well. Now, I'm not going to read too much into Jesse playing. Did he play? Look, I'll be honest, I didn't watch the final 4 minutes of the game or whatever. So if he didn't play the full, if he got taken off at the end, I didn't see it. As far as I'm concerned, he played all of the game. I'm not going to read too much into that, but he'll be really pleased that he did. I suspect, for the fact that he was making a substitution, Southgate, that Mason Mount is being saved for at least the Poland game. I would imagine he clearly is a firm favourite of his. I think Raheem Sterling was taken off at half-time, wasn't he? So I think if Lingard was going to feature any more, then he probably wouldn't have played all the game. But that suits us fine, because I think that builds his confidence up. He can puff his chest out a bit and say, yep, I've played another game for England. Going to West Ham was a good thing. And he can probably see enough light at the end of the tunnel where if he plays well, he will stay in the squad or get back into the squad, at least for, you know, some more games in the shake-up for the decision. It's good for West Ham in terms of he finished the game injury-free. I don't know, he might be on a bench, let's be fair. He might be on a bench. He may well, you know, come on as a substitute in one of those games. He may do it, he may not. It's going to be very, very difficult. But then again, Grealish not being involved is helpful, of course, as well. It's a funny old system that Southgate plays there, really. And I think that is subject to change. I'm surprised he didn't go with 2 forwards against that team. And I think that's why you'll see other teams beating San Marino sort of 8-9-0 or something like that. We may well be disappointed with with just the 5 anyway. But it was interesting. It was an interesting watch. I did think Mason Mount played really, really well. Chilwell was really good, very good player, isn't he? Really decent left back. You had to feel sorry I felt a bit sorry for Calvin Phillips. I mean, there's just no need for a defensive midfielder in that sort of game, is there? You understand why they do it, because if you don't play the defensive midfielder, then you're really playing a totally different formation that you would ever play normally in tournament, and you want to get the team used to the shape, and you're going to need to play Calvin Phillips in there, because if Declan Rice gets injured at any point, then that looks like the guy that might go in there. That being said, he possibly would shoehorn Jordan Henderson into play in that defensive midfield, possibly before he would do that. I don't know. It's interesting to note though, but as I've thought for some time, Declan Rice is Gareth Southgate's first choice for that position, because that wasn't the first choice team, was it? Let's be perfectly honest with you. Again, that was another good thing for West Ham, really, wasn't it? That Declan Rice is not going to play 3 games, although I do worry that he will go and play consecutive games for England, and then he's going to be hopefully okay for our next league game. But it's good. It's good to see West Ham having players featuring in the England team, and I'm looking forward to the next game as well. I say it's difficult for the defensive midfielders. I think it's also difficult for the centre halves. They just don't really have anything to do. Fullbacks a little bit different. As we said, Chilwell was particularly impressive. Reece James, of course, he got an assist, and he got the assist for Calvert-Lewin's header. He should have scored more. He'll be disappointed. His technique let him down a little bit there. Calvert-Lewin certainly on a few of them. There was actually, it was a lovely cross, actually, wasn't it, from Jesse Lingard himself. And Jesse played well. Let's get this absolutely right. Jesse played really, really well. We're lucky to have him at West Ham. We've got to make their signing permanent. Just go through a few of the other players as well. Before I go, I am going to go a little bit mad about Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham, because they are special. There's no doubt about this. Ward-Prowse I thought was really decent. I'm not sure he makes the 23. Got to be honest with you. Not sure he makes the 23, but that's no insult to his game. I think he did a fine job, but they were crap. San Marino were crap. Let's just get that out there. Raheem Sterling, he looked good against them. Raheem Sterling is a good player. I thought it maybe a bit like Lingard. He was a little bit greedy and desperate to get his goal. He did get his goal as well. He probably should have squared it to Lingard for the easier chance when he shot earlier on. But he's just a little bit too quick, a little bit too twisty-turny for a team of part-time, as it ain't their fault, is it? In fact, there was something quite funny, actually, because my son had said, he said he knew about San Marino. He said, I know all about San Marino. He said, my friend at school was telling me about San Marino. He said, they're an island. I said, they're not an island. He said, no, they are an island. He said, no, they are, because my friend at school's really, really clever. I said that they're not an island. So in the end, I said, I think they're actually landlocked and they're up near the Alps or something like that. So we went and searched it on the phone, and there they were, sort of just north of Italy by the Alps. And I said, no, they are landlocked. They're surrounded by other countries. And he said, well, technically an island. And I said, no, definitely technically not an island. Anyway, so we beat the island of San Marino at 5-0. Made some substitutions. Trippier came on. Yeah, doesn't matter. I've got nothing against Trippier, but we are blessed with right backs, aren't we? James is there. Trippier's good. Alexander-Arnold is he's like a midfielder that plays at right back, really, isn't he? Not having his best season, but a lot of Liverpool team. And of course, Wan-Bissaka is just a brilliant player. I don't know if the Brighton, what's his name, Lapati or something like that, I don't even know. I don't know if he qualifies for England or what. I know he's English. I don't know anything about him, but he looks good. I hope he is. Anyway, let's get to what I want to talk about, which is Phil Foden and Jude Bellingham. Bellingham's 17. He is 17. It's gonna be really hard to not take him. And I think if Southgate doesn't take him, I'm talking about in the squad. I'm talking about in the squad in the championships this summer. Then it will only be because of age. Because I mean, he looks to the manner born. He looks absolutely fantastic. What a player he is. And I won't lie, I've not really seen Borussia Dortmund. I did watch him when all the hype was about him, because he was meant to be signing for Man United and he didn't, and they signed for Borussia Dortmund. I watched all the highlights of him when he was at Birmingham and he was 16. He looked brilliant. So, but he's made the step up seamlessly. He's just one of those players who, whatever level he plays at, he's going to be really, really good. Not only do I think it's going to be hard not to take him, or it's going to be really hard not to play him in that team. I mean, he's a mega talent, as is Phil Foden. He's got some choices. He's got some tough choices, Southgate. He really does. And in terms of his tricksy players, because I think Grealish is a sensational player. He really is fantastic. Foden is also very, very special. and the technique, the skill, the ball control, the manipulation that lad has is really, really something special. I think he's the best young English player of that type. So I'm ruling out centre backs and strikers and all sorts of that type since Gaza. I really do. A phenomenal player. I think, again, it's like I said with Bellingham, you would almost have to use his age to leave him out. It's not the same with Foden. Foden's not 17, of course. But I think whilst he was just a substitute for Manchester City, there were reasons to leave him out. Southgate, you say, he's just a kid coming through. But I think now he's playing and featuring and scoring and doing so well. And of course, he scored a brace for England against Iceland as well. It's very hard for Southgate now to say, oh, well, this is a youngster, I can't play him. There are reasons to suggest that he is the best midfielder of that type, that England have got. I mean, it's an argument. It's there. You may choose somebody else, but I think he's on another level. And with people like Maddison and even Mason Mount and people like really good players. I think this kid's a level above them. I think you look at him and you think, well, he can be world class. He really can. He's also a left footer, which is good for some reason. No, I don't know. It's nice. It's interesting. It's good to see him play. I think. I can't remember what game it was. There was a game a little while ago where Southgate played. I think he played three at the back and wing backs and the two central midfielders were defenders and just had loads of defenders, almost no attacking players. Southgate's got what he wants now. England for too long have not had enough good technical players. Southgate's now got to find a formation. I'm not saying this one isn't it, where he can try and squeeze as many technical players into that lineup as he possibly can. So if you've got, I don't know, three behind the striker, a front three of maybe Sancho, Foden and Grealish, and that's leaving out people like Rashford and Sterling and people that are very, very good. You get the impression he ain't going to leave out Mason Mount. Mason Mount's making that squad, and I thought he looked good, by the way. I thought he really, commanded the dictated play, didn't he, really? It's going to be really interesting. I think in that sense, our own Declan Rice in a really good position because there's not as much competition for his position. And I think it is looking like, I think Phillips will go. Phillips will go. But Declan goes and he starts. Look. As I say, look, we beat San Marino. I'm looking forward to the next games. We're going to feature those on this channel. I just want to say massive thank you to everybody who've left all the comments earlier on this week. Thank you very, very much indeed. Absolutely loved them. Really chuffed. Thank you so much. Right, I'll be back tomorrow talking about something or other.